to win the virtual Grand Prix in Monaco by nearly 40 seconds.
Hello and welcome to the G-Infinity Arena, the home of F1 Esports Virtual Grand Prix. My name is Tom Deacon, a pleasure to have you with us. 2 weeks ago, you just saw all of the drama from Monaco in that street race. Well, tonight we've got another street race for you. Our drivers will be heading to Baku in Azerbaijan. And joining me on the desk to talk about all of the action is Sky F1's very own Natalie Pinkham. Natalie, great to have you back. It seems silly to ask, but looking forward to tonight's race?
Absolutely. We saw, as you say, so much drama in Monaco, and I predict plenty more of the same in Baku. And actually, what's been really interesting to see develop is this real tussle for position between the drivers, Charles Leclerc, Alex Albon and George Russell. George Russell looking for his third consecutive win, and just 2 races to go. 3 points are in it.
Yeah.
So it is all to play for.
I love it. We've got this championship, which doesn't technically exist, but people have added up the scores because that's how passionate they are about this.
100%, and we haven't had anything to talk about racing-wise for many, many weeks, and these things count. George Russell is giving timely reminders to the big bosses, particularly at Mercedes. Hey, look, I'm here, I'm talented, I'm winning races.
Indeed. Well, listen, great to have you on board tonight. Listen, before we get down to all of the nitty-gritty with Azerbaijan, it is new to the F1 calendar, but it's already given us some memorable moments of skill, adversity, emotions. So let's have a little recap of all of those greatest F1 moments.
The Street Fighters are in place and ready to do battle. Kimi Räikkönen into Esteban Ocon. They've gone into each other.
Laps the steering wheel. Come on! Whoa!
Mate, he brake tested me.
Oh, there's a puncture!
Nice job, mate.
Crazy race. Could we race in Baku every week?
There you go. Some incredible, memorable moments there. Brake testing stands out there. For you, Natalie, obviously been to Baku. What's it like? What's the emotions like? What's the energy come race day?
Well, first of all, it's a stunning city. It's medieval. It's got a big mix of old and new architecture. It's lying on the coastline of the Caspian Sea. It's very windy, so that can affect the drivers. But as you say, it somehow delivers so much drama. 2017, as you say, the brake testing when Vettel went into Hamilton behind the safety car. 2018, we saw Ricciardo and Verstappen take each other out. Both Red Bulls gone. And 2019, my goodness, George Russell goes over a, a drain cover, sucks it up, gets massive damage to the car. So we're thinking, should racing even go ahead? And then Charles Leclerc, who was absolutely locked on for pole, massive favourite, and then crashes at turn 8, which also took out Kubica in qualifying. And then you see the Mercedes lock out the front row and go ahead to win the race. I mean, there's been so much drama, and I expect to see some more tonight.
Russell hoping to make it 3 wins in a row. He'll be hoping, we've already checked with the game, no drain covering, so it's absolutely fine.
Good stuff.
For that. However, back in 2016, the world... World champion Nico Rosberg will probably have some very, very fond memories. He was jumping up and down with joy after winning. I'm delighted to say that he's joining us right now. Nico Rosberg, great to have you on the show. Are you looking forward? Well, first of all, how are you? Are you looking forward to the race tonight?
Hi everybody. Yeah, I'm fine. Thank you very much. I'm actually in my cellar in the simulator vibe myself. I was just driving around the circuit trying to get a good lap in. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to the race later on.
Now, I do have to say, Natty, you weren't here on the desk, but last time we chatted like this, Nico, you had a surprise visitor walk into the room. I believe it was your wife, Vivian. I feel like we should address that very early. It really took off on Twitter.
Yeah, I think because you just never know when you're online with this camera, you know, and she was trying to help me out, trying to film with my mobile what I was doing, and it just went completely wrong.
That's why he's locked himself in the man cave now.
Yeah, indeed.
Exactly, exactly.
I hope you didn't get into any trouble. Listen, we look forward to the race tonight. It's surprising to see such good racing from the likes of George Russell, Charles Leclerc. It's going to be nail-biting tonight, 3 points behind, as we found out. George Russell, he's the man to beat at the moment.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's really cool also how there's no differences between the cars in the virtual world. So all those guys are similarly incredibly talented, and George Russell seems to be flying at the moment. Yeah, he's been driving brilliantly, and it's the way it is. I mean, he's an unbelievable talent. We know that, and a huge maybe even championship potential for the future one day. So it's great that he's laying down his mark now in virtual racing, and I look forward to the battle so much. I mean, Azerbaijan is an incredibly difficult circuit. So to win there, really, you've got to be on it 100%.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, Natty and I were just discussing it. You were definitely on it in 2016. What are your memories from that race and winning it?
Yeah, it was the first time there, and I mean, it's one of the most difficult tracks in the world because you have so many high-speed braking arrivals where you're like at maximum speed and you have this braking, and if you ever so slightly mess up the braking, you go straight off into the runoff or even hit the barrier. So it's really difficult on the braking there, and that's the most challenging part about the track. And I think in the simulator, maybe it's even more so difficult to get those brakings right lap after lap. The big respect to those guys.
Now, actually, Nico, I went into labour very shortly after you won that race. So I think it was your fault that my waters broke.
I'm very sorry about that.
No, please don't be. It was a great moment for you and for me. Just tell me how important it is for the racers at the moment to keeping their skills set sharp ahead of returning to racing in a month's time.
Yeah, this is a very interesting question. If I was still racing, I would be in the simulator every single day, spending hours in there, because I'm convinced that it's still going to help you a tiny bit to keep training your skills. I mean, imagine Roger Federer, if he didn't train on a tennis court for like 5 months, and he would come back on the first day back, he would be nowhere. And the skill for an F1 driver, it's the same. And I think in the simulator, you have a small chance of training some of that skill and keeping the level up, and therefore I would be maximizing it. And it'll be interesting to see, because we see some drivers doing it more than others, and I wonder if they might have an advantage when the racing gets going again. I would bet on that they would have an advantage.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, I was just listening to the F1 Nation podcast. Alex Jakes, our commentator tonight. It was interesting to find out about Lando Norris, that already the preparation has begun, going on an F3 car, maybe getting in a kart, just getting. You wouldn't be surprised then if some of the guys that have been sort of competing in the virtual world, getting a little bit of an edge then.
Absolutely. I remember so vividly my first outing after the winter break, and the winter break was always 3 months long only, and this is now 5 months, so the winter break was always much shorter. And the first run out, you can just feel how your capacity in your mind is just so much less. You're like maxed out just to trying to drive fast. You have no capacity left to like memorize things or start working on the settings. You just feel rusty. And those guys are going to be feeling it too. So I'm sure that every little bit you can do is going to help. Like even going go-karting as Lando is doing. And I think the guys who are really trying to do their best in preparation are really going to have a small advantage.
So what's your prediction then for this evening?
I'm going to go for George Russell again. He's flying, and I think he's going to take it again.
Well, listen, Nico Rosberg, an absolute pleasure to have you on the show, and it's great to see you weren't interrupted in your man cave this evening. Yes. Yeah, that's a good point. You never know. Thank you very much, Nico Rosberg.
Thanks a lot, everybody. And I've just got to say one more thing, like huge respect to the simulator drivers, because I'm driving